I've been a member here at First Baptist Church in Lumberton for 4 years now. I was invited here by my son-in-law and daughter, and they were having a C-128 Ministries. It was a Mighty Men event. And at that time, I was going through quite a bit of stuff at home, and I was drawn not only by the invitation, but I felt the pull of Christ to come to church. I get from this church many things, and let me give you some examples. When I first came to this church, I was in a need, and I was in a need of friendship. I was in need of fellowship. And my son, at that time, being 13 years old and going through the trauma he was experiencing, I knew at that time it was my responsibility to get him in a safe place and get him out of the environment he was in. And I knew, I knew at the time that I needed to be in church. And I knew as the man of the family, that was my responsibility. But once I came to First Baptist Church of Lumberton, I was just overwhelmed at the outreach and the loving people, and just everybody would greet you and welcome you. Some churches you go into, you got to kind of fit in a little bit before you really, you got to meet people, but there was just open arms here, and it wasn't that I knew a bunch of people here at First Baptist Church, but everybody was welcoming, even the ones not knowing my situation at that time in my life. One day I was sitting there on a Wednesday evening, and I was watching the guys rehearsing the band, the worship band, and there was a guitar sitting in a guitar stand. And as I looked at that guitar, me being a guitar player, I knew at that time I was being called to go up there and get that guitar. And without asking or knowing whose guitar it was, I went ahead and walked up there and picked the guitar up. And I kind of played along. And the guy leading the music, didn't really know him that well at that time. He said, "Do you play?" He said, "That's awesome." He said, "You're in." And at that time, I've been serving and just thoroughly love it. And my relationship at this point with working through the fellowship and Sunday school and spending the time in church where I need to be has given me such a peace that actually, in all honesty, this church has saved my life and my son's life. We were in a situation to where things could have been real critical, real easy. Not by our doing, but by us being in that situation. And I'm so thankful for this church at this time, because where it's put me and Fisher and where we are in our lives and the peace I feel each day. I could have lost my job. I could have lost my home. It could have been real serious. But yes, I can say this church has saved my life and my son's life. I do that now. I recommend First Baptist Lumberton all the time. I even do it on social media. I do it in grocery stores, even at a gas station if I see an opportunity. And I even throw myself out there too now at this point as an open invitation, and look for me when you get there, and I'll come show you around. That's the way I am. And I'm always bragging on this church. I love it so much. And I tell you how much I love this church, and you can probably get with me on this. And you know how you are as a young kid, and you can remember back Christmas morning how excited you was to get up and go see what you got for Christmas. Or the alarm clock goes off at 4:30, and you know that your boat's parked down there in the water and you're fixing to go catch a bass. That's the excitement I get for church on Sundays now. I have such a love for the people here at First Baptist Church, and the friendship and the outpouring of love is just overwhelming. I can't say enough about it. I'm home. You can't drive me away. If I get crippled, I will find a wheelchair and make my way up here. I love this church to death. I want to give you an example of something, and I want this to go out to everyone. And you probably know this in perspective, and you've probably noticed it in your life at one point. But I would like to encourage everyone to come visit First Baptist Church. And I'm at a point now with my relationship with Christ that I'd like to make an analogy to the people that don't come to church. You know, every now and then I talk to people and they say, well, Huff, I read my Bible, you know, at home every day or every night before I go to bed. I don't need church. I'm okay like I am. And I don't press it. I just keep God's name out in front of me. But a lot of you can relate to this, that the fact is, me, for example, my relationship with Christ, I've been in and out of churches all my life and had membership at different churches. But I'm at a point now that I love this church so much in my relationship with God. Let me give you this analogy. You know, at work, sometimes you know somebody in that mindset. You know how they are at work. They're disciplined. They're good at this. They're good at Excel. They can do anything. They're wonderful at their job. You know that person as that person at work. Let me give you an example. Maybe one day you get to take him home from work because his car's broke down. He invites you in. And you see this man, he's an artist. He's painted beautiful pictures. You see he's got a piano over there. You ask him about the piano and he goes and sits down and plays it. And you never knew or never had a relationship with that individual like you do now because you're in his house and you see how he is. You're really getting close to him now. I would like to make that comparison to your relationship with God being in church. And with that being said, there's no closer you can be to God than going to his house and listening to his word. And I'd like to leave you with that.